everyone, Once Bitten here. So this is Game 2 of Brawler Bash 2014, my Empire versus a Lizardmen army. This is a Blood and Glory scenario. So if you're the first one to break your opponent, you get an extra 1,000 victory points. If you break your opponent, but you're the second one to do so, you get 500. You still try to finish all 6 turns. So my opponent mentioned to me prior to the game, he's local. He doesn't come out every week, but he's kind of a local player. And we've played each other a handful of times, I think 3 or 4. And he pointed out to me before the game that he's never beaten me before. And as soon as he said it, I just had this thing in the back of my mind, like, I hope that it does not jinx me. I hope that doesn't jinx me. We actually had a practice game for the tournament. I didn't make a battle report out of it because it ended early. But, so we know each other's lists, basically. So on the far right, he's got some skinks, got some knights with 2 scarvets in there. Both of them have like a 1-up armor save. One of them has a 5-up ward, and they're both strength 7. So they're great knight killers. Next to him, he's got a unit of Temple Guard. There's a Slan in there who's his battle standard bearer, who's doing life. And he also has a Skink Priest with a scroll, level 1 beast. Then he's got a unit of ranked up skinks. And then he's got a big unit of, there's some Ripperdactyls, of course. Big unit of Source Warriors. Teto Echo is in there, and he also has a Slan who's level 4 Shadow. So there's a lot of things going on here. One, this Slan channels on a 5, and he's able to channel an additional 2 dice. So every time my opponent is channeling, he's throwing 6 dice, half of which are channeling on 5-up. So he knows he's going to have big magic phases, big magic defense phases. I think that's a brilliant build when you have so many points in magic. I mean, 2 Slans, Teto Echo, the Skink Chief, that's a lot of points. What happens if you roll Snake Eyes for your magic phase? Well, he channels a bunch. He also has a thing where he can store, if he doesn't use Dispel Dice, I think he can store them. He can store one for his own Power Dice later. So, real strong magic phase here. Teto Echo has just a lot of weird special rules. For the most part, he's able to re-roll rolls of 1 when he casts spells. That's huge. He can also re-roll the first failed Dispel attempt every turn. That's huge. So, yeah. A couple more units of Skinks and some more Ripperdactyls. So I want you to appreciate, these are the numbers of spells that he's dealing with every turn. I've never seen it before like that. So on the far left, I was trying to use my Demigryph Knights, and I've been using them lately just to kind of protect my flank and then kind of swoop around. And then I use the Hurricanum like this a lot, just so if you have scouts and he puts them out there, he has a decent chance of putting some wounds in my Hurricanum, but then I have a decent chance of charging them and, protecting my flank that way. Got a steam tank right up front. This hill was problematic for me because it was far enough up that it kind of forced me to put my army close to his. But then again, I'm not sure I wanted to sit back because I think he has me outranged. If nothing else, just from dwellers below, he could really put a hurting a lot of my stuff. But he's got such a strong magic phase and still has a decent amount of poison shooting. So I'm up pretty close. There's a steam tank, handgunners, all my war machines on the hill, my archer unit of 10 behind him. You can see my knights in the upper right with Karl Franz and the warrior priest. Halberdiers. The Halberdiers detachment on the right, and then the Demigryphs. The Demigryphs on the right were my last unit placed, and I really just didn't like the position. I didn't like what I had done, because really, I want my Halberdiers facing his knights. I don't want my Halberdiers up against his Temple Guard. So to make that work, I don't mind Demigryphs against his Temple Guard. That means I'm going to have to crisscross, and that isn't always very easy. The problem, but again, once I got to this point of deployment, I was screwed. What I wish I had done was just put my Halberdiers back and put the Demigryphs in front of them, and rush the Demigryphs out, and then have the Halberdiers guard my flank. So I say all that because from the moment deployment was done, I felt awkward. My left flank, I felt pretty comfortable with how things were deployed in the matchups, because I have a steam tank and Demigryphs that can clear off chaff and then tie up his source unit. I can get Karl Franz into that source unit. He can assassinate characters. Then I just wanted my Demigryphs in against the Temple Guard and my Halberdiers against his knights just to hold things up for a bit until I could support him. And I got him flip-flopped because I wasn't thinking straight. But his chameleon skinks all the way over here. I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's going to take him. I mean, they're going to be a problem for me, but they can't hurt me turn 1, and I have Lore of Fire. I can deal with them later. So my opponent, I think he used the card that allowed him automatic turn to go first. He goes first, and, well, Ripperdactyls charge the steam tank. I'm not really worried about, but during his magic phase, he casts Occam's Mind Razor on him, and I have to use my scroll to stop it. So if he had got Occam's, that would have been a big deal there. At the far right, the Cold One Knights, they pass their stupidity, of course, and then they need a 10 to get to my Demigryphs, and they make it. And that's not a horrible matchup for me, but I don't like that matchup. I think Demis will take on his Knights all day long, but with 2 characters in there, that's a lot to ask of him. Yeah, luckily for me, he did fail 2 dangerous terrain tests. That helps a little bit, but it's not his rank and file I'm worried about. It's his strength 7 characters. So first round of combat, I get to go first. That's the lucky thing. So every attack I can, I'm putting on his characters. And over here you can see he moves his Skink unit up just to block both my units. That's fine. I don't really care. And then, yeah, there's his Ripperdactyls. These Skinks come up and shoot at my Hellblaster volley gun. I think he has 10 shots, and he rolls 3 6s. I felt that was somewhat unfortunate for me. 10 shots, I guess you should have, on average, 1.5 6s. So, don't love that. Chameleon Skinks kill 4 of the 5 archers, and not really a huge issue. We go here. All of my attacks at his characters with. All of them. I do no wounds to his characters. I was so ticked. He only did 3 wounds to me, which was huge. I was able to, on the guys that couldn't attack characters, I was able to kill a couple of his rank and file. I was not steadfast, but I did stick. I had no reroll nearby, so that was huge. So I was very happy that I stuck. I think if I had just, if woulda, shoulda, coulda. God, I just rolled a hit and just rolled 1s, 2s, and 3s. Ripperdactyls come in. They don't do a single wound to the steam tank, so I'm going to be able to grind them on my turn. Empire turn 1 looks like that. I charge the Halberdiers and the Knights into his Skink unit just to get rid of them. What I don't like there is I really don't want his Temple Guard charging my Halberdiers. If he charges my Knights, it's not wonderful. I'm okay with it. I don't want him in my Halberdiers because he's just going to blow through them. You can see the Ripperdactyls are already gone. During the movement phase, we do the grinding attacks, and the steam tank got rid of them. And over here on the left, the Demigryphs made their charge to these Ripperdactyls. I'm happy with that. He gets to go first, and he gets an extra D3 attacks each, and he rolls a 3. He gets so many attacks each. Potentially, I don't love that, but it's still, I like this. I think I should win. I can reform, and I'm threatening the flank of his Saurus unit. I mean, he can block me with that unit of Skinks, but for the most part, I think I've got the left flank under control. On my back lines, I turn to face his Chameleon Skinks so I can shoot at him with arrows, which aren't going to do anything, but I can threaten him with Lore of Fire spells. After combat, it looks like this. If we look on the right, he killed another Demigryph. I do 0 wounds to him, and by some amazing twist of fate, my Demigryphs stick. We easily beat the Skinks and just reform. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't reform the Halberdiers in bus formation. That's what they needed to do. Yeah, I just have no recollection. Here on the left, yeah, his Ripperdactyls do only a single wound. He couldn't get past my armor saves, which was huge. Demigryphs are a threat in his flank. I love that. I mean, it doesn't win me the game. He's going to be able to trap me up one more time, but I really, really like that. Lizardmen turn 2. Opponent makes a pretty critical mistake. Well, anyways, Chameleon Skinks march up. We're going to get a shooting match between them and my Mage Bunker. Other Chameleon Skinks move up on the left. One is blocking my Demis. One's going to shoot at my War Machines. Yeah, there's that. There's that. There's this. So this is the mistake he made. He declares a charge against my General's unit. I hold, and when we go to do it, because it's not just that unit he has, he also has that Skink Chief on the right side. My BSB is kind of blocking a view of him. He couldn't fit. Now in this picture, those Skinks have already rallied, but when they were fleeing, when the declared charges, even then, he just couldn't fit between there. Not even so much as just to touch me. So, I mean, he could kind of angle to touch me, but then there's no way I was able to close the door because of his fleeing skinks. So, boom, it's a failed charge. That was huge. What he should have done, because I don't know why I made this mistake, he should have gone into the halberdiers, and he easily would have beaten him. I easily would not have been steadfast. The only thing I would have going for me is I would have, if my BSB was alive, I would have to hold the line. So I'd have a 10 minus whatever I lost combat by using cold-blooded. Even then, I think he would have, yeah, I don't know. I'll talk more about Temple Guard in a minute. Then we go to the magic phase, and he casts Dwellers Below. He barely gets it. I use all my dice to stop it, and even though I threw more dice than he did, it still goes through. Carl Franz fails the strength test. Warrior Priest fails the strength test. My champion fails the strength test. And then finally a couple knights decide to pass it. That was big. Oh, that was painful. Darn it. Not game breaking, but that hurt. Skinks shoot a cannon. They take 2 out of the 3 wounds, so I'll take that. And then over here after combat, yeah, I kill one of his characters, I think. It's hard to tell. The models are kind of the same. I think I killed one character. He won combat. I finally broke, and he gets points for the Demigryph Knights. This is on his turn, so on my turn I can shoot cannons at him, which is nice. I should be able to get that unit off the board, and there's really nothing else to shoot at. So I should be okay there. Don't love losing the Demigryphs, but probably okay. Empire turn 2. My archer attachment charges as skinks, because I really think there's just not going to be a lot of wounds going on. I can keep my mage out of combat because the skinks were only a few wide. Anyway, he flees, and the chameleon skinks either failed their panic or chose to flee when I redirected, something like that. This turn I do finally reform the halberdiers into bus formation. I get my BSB out of there, and I got my warrior priest out of the halberdier unit because I think the halberdier is going to hold for 1 turn and then they're going to die. At this point I took the picture. I'd forgotten to move the steam tank already, but the steam tank's going to move in just a second, I think. Demigryphs charge the skinks on the left. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, and the steam tank generated steam points and got the charge into these guys. This was tough. I kind of needed them to go help out the Temple Guard, but at the same time I didn't need these skinks coming through and just wrecking my back lines. So I go to shoot at his Coldwood Knights, and both cannons misfire. One can't shoot this turn or next turn, the other one blew up. And my Master Engineer failed his panic and ran off the board. That could have been better. Let me take that back. I think one blew up. I think the other one, the one with only one guy left, didn't blow up. He was able to put a cannonball down the line, killed the rest of the knights. He has one character left that I rolled a 1 to wound. Over here, yeah, my knights had charged a small skink unit because there's nothing else these knights can do. Here's the plan I had, and it wasn't a brilliant plan. It was a low percentage plan, but I didn't know what else to do with those knights. I beat that unit and then overran, and I needed to roll an 8 or less, I think. It may have been whatever it was. I wanted to land in front of this unit, but not hit them. Because then they charged me, I could have fled, I would have bounced through the Temple Guard and would have been safe. But I rolled high and hit his unit, so now now he's going to win combat. I'll probably down under 25%, will never rally. Steam Tank kills all but 2 of those guys, but they're no longer a threat. Go to Lizardmen turn 3. Yeah, the Slann are still held up on the top part. This actually could work for me because it's going to allow my Demigryphs to get a really easy charge against that Saurus unit. Let's see. Oh wait, no, that's not. Well, anyway, if they can, unless the Steam Tank's blocking them, which it might be. Temple Guard charge the halberdiers again. You know, he's 6 wide, so I guess that gives him 6 times 2, 12, plus an extra 4. So I guess he has 16 attacks. So I really think it's going to be very difficult for him to do the 14, however many wounds he needs to do to get me below steadfast. So I think I'll be steadfast on a 7 rerollable. That's the best I can hope for. Next turn I certainly will not be steadfast. There's that. His Saurus character, by the way, failed a stupidity roll, so he just stumbled forward, which was nice. After combat, yeah, that first off, his Temple Guard had, again, let's say they had 16 attacks. They, or maybe even 8, whatever they had. Anyway, every 6 he rolls to hit, he gets an extra attack, and he rolled tons of 6s, and when he re-rolled the extra attacks, they all hit. He had a ton of attacks, wounding on 2s. He crushed that unit. I was nowhere close to being steadfast. I really, really underestimated the ability of the Temple Guard to do wounds. So, yeah, things are looking a little bit bleak. I would have an auto charge with the Demigryphs on the left, except the way I reformed them, yeah, it looks like they, I'm blanking out. Oh, they had a failed charge or something. Hell, I don't know. Yeah. So here's what they basically had a failed charge against the Saurus Warriors. I remember that for a fact. There's a slightest possibility that was my last turn they failed the charge, and this turn they couldn't charge because the steam tank was in the way. So forgive me for being confused. I've got a lot of games I'm trying to remember. But at some point they failed an easy charge against them. No, it was this one. Yeah, they had a failed charge. And they didn't need much to get there, so that was huge. I was really, really, really hoping to get that, do a bunch of wounds, win combat. He'd probably stick, but you never know. Steam tank goes barreling into the Temple Guard. I don't think I'm going to break him. I have no idea how to get those points, but at least it should hold him up, allow me to regroup. The Halberdiers, oh, he didn't catch the Halberdiers. That's nice. So they rallied. The cannon's finally able to snipe his Scarvet, so that was kind of nice. And over here, yeah, I do some wounds. He's done maybe 2 to me, and he reforms. So I'm actually kind of okay with this. I don't think, again, I mean, how many attacks do he have? 4 wide, so 8 attacks, and then 2 supporting. So he has 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, and then wounding on 5s. I don't think, he shouldn't be able to, it's going to take him a while to whittle down that steam tank. Lizardmen turn 4. This time the Saurus Warriors charge my Demigryphs. It's not as ideal as me charging him, but I've got a chance there. Demigryphs do a lot of wounds, and it's tough for Strength 4 to get past my armor save. The downside is we go to the magic phase, and he 6 dices Occam's Mind Razor, and that's the game. Yep. At this point I thought I might have a chance, but no, Occam's certainly won the day there. And then the Temple Guard did a ton of wounds to my, I think they did 6 wounds to my steam tank. I'm like, what is going on? He has all these hits, he's getting all these 6s to hits with all these extra attacks, they all hit. He's wounding on 5s, he rolls a ton of 5s. I'm saving on 3s, I roll a tons of, what? God damn. Yeah, so we go to my turn. I go for things with my steam tank. I go for 5, risking a miscast. Hoping just to get lucky. What I need to do is grind some and then to have enough power dice left over to do a breath weapon so that the Halberdiers can come in and just kill as many as possible, and then just hope he fails a stubborn 8 rerollable. Odds are low, but it doesn't hurt me to lose points, and I'm desperate to try to gain some points. Plus I can at least kill a character and get something. But the steam tank misfires and blows itself up because I roll a 3 on the D3. The Halberdiers come in. I actually lose combat. Well, let's go up 1. A charge in the flank ranked up. I kill his character, so that puts me in contact with 2 of his Temple Guards. So he has 4 attacks. I lose combat. Lizardmen turn 5. He charges the cannon on the hill. Has a good chance of overrunning into the Hurricanum. Meanwhile, obviously my guy's just running. After combat, it looks like that. Yeah, Empire 5. I really can't get my characters out of harm's way, but I'm doing my best. On his next turn, he can charge my characters, but I can flee. So this is at the end of the turn. He kills my Hurricanum. My wizard actually fails his panic test and runs. So in his turn, he charges my BSB. I flee. I get away with both. Obviously, his Temple Guard are pushing my Halberdiers off the table. He casts a Comet of Cassandora, and he lowers my movement so I can't get away from it, which I thought was pretty clever. But I beat that because I failed my panic and moved anyway. and then the comet goes off, Techo Echo can re-roll that, so he had to re-roll it, but it went off, and it killed my BSB. And the game ends like that. So, yeah, just ends up, my opponent actually got pretty much full points for this game. I think I got 1,300 points thereabouts. I'm just guessing. I'm not guessing, I'm just rounding. I don't remember exactly how many I got. That game went south in a hurry. There were a few mistakes that were huge. Again, putting the demis on the far right where they have not an ideal matchup was a big mistake. In hindsight, hindsight's 2020. Who knows? Yeah, just really just a crushing loss. The only bright side is this guy got a victory against me, and if out of 3 or 4 games he hasn't beat me yet, then he good. I'm glad they finally got that out of the way, so he can't jinx me again the next time we play. So for the tournament as a whole, I'm at 4,800 points, which is not good. There are a lot of people who had that many points their first game. That puts me about middle of the pack, but I'm definitely not happy with it. So that's it after game 2. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has several functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like the video, you can leave a comment, you can favorite the video. I want you to know that I appreciate it when you do things like that. It feels much more interactive than simply me talking to a screen. So if you're willing to do so, please like, comment, and favorite the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and you certainly are welcome to share this video on your blog or other websites if you are so inclined. Again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.